a few years back, I read something from one of your books, and it was an interaction between a teacher and a student. And the teacher, the student asked the question of who am I? And the teacher responded, you're all that remains when you remove all the things you are not. And then the student eventually says, I am certain, are you certain that I am none of the things I believe myself to be? And the teacher responds, yes, I am certain about that. So when I read that, it was a brand new idea to me. I didn't understand it. It sounded quite out there. And I think over the past few years, I have read a lot more of your things that led me to other things. And I feel like at this point, I can say confidently to myself anyways, that I understand intellectually what that means and the idea behind that interaction. However, in the past 2 years, I don't think I've made an inch of progress in understanding that idea more than
you're not going to.
So my question is, do you have any comments on moving from the intellect?
Did you hear what I said?
Oh, no, I did not. Please repeat.
You're not going to.
I see. Okay. And
I'm not going to tell you it takes too long, because you can have it in 5 seconds. It just depends on who you are. It depends upon what level one is looking for, the depth of his desire to find that. Once again, I'll go back to the statement that I don't know why anyone reads my stuff, because it's not really for anybody. Because what's going to happen is that, like you said, you read my stuff and then you went on to other stuff. It's all you're gonna, like, with the exception of mine, everything that even relates to anything like that is all through the lens of spirituality. And as soon as you open the door of spirituality, you're gone. It's over. Game, set, match. The fat lady has sung. The credits are rolling. It's finished. Right? There's no way. There's not even a possibility through spirituality. And so, but when you went from my stuff to other stuff, you were doomed. And if you would have stayed with my stuff and only my stuff, you still could have been doomed. But then you would have been doomed for a different reason. But which may not, it doesn't matter, because with my stuff, at least you have a possibility, right? Possibility isn't very high, because no matter how much truth I tell you, you have to be of a particular DNA to be sufficiently receptive to the truth. And receptive doesn't mean an effortful receptiveness. It means just the capacity, right, to have like a bomb go off inside you. So as soon as you go into spirituality, you can't enter through that door. And what I mean by can't doesn't mean you should not. Can't means that's not where it is, right? So I could say you can't get water from a rock. Okay? It doesn't mean you shouldn't try. If you want to try, you can try, right? There's not a rule. But can't, when I say it, I mean that isn't where it is. Well, if you want to drink a water and you're in the desert, unless there's some survivor trick that I don't know about, it's not, I'm no expert in the wild survivor, but maybe there's a trick, I don't know. But as far as I know, the rock shouldn't be where you're looking if you want water. So that like, these are not rules, right? It isn't a rule that thou shalt not go by way of spirituality. Thou shalt not read about spirituality. Thou shalt not follow self-help and self-development and listen to people and mastermind groups, all this stupid, idiotic nonsense, drivel, garbage, right? There's no thou shalt not. If you want to, you can. But what I'm saying is it isn't there. And even that you shouldn't believe. You shouldn't take on faith. Go see. You know, who knows? Maybe you will get through spell. Maybe you'll be the first, right? So I mean, and I mean that. I mean, there's nothing is absolutely 100% impossible. One could, if one devotes himself to, if there's one grain of something in something, the guy could say, well, it's all nonsense, but there's one grain here, and I'm gonna devote my entire life to the one grain. Okay, like there's no like absolutely. I mean, in fact, and from that thing, you probably could get water from a rock. If you're going to go to that level and there's one grain and drop of water, maybe you can, right? But I'm talking practicality here, right? So like that isn't where it is. So it isn't thou shalt not seek spirituality. It's not where if it. So like I didn't not put it there, right? I didn't extract truth from spirituality. That's not my doing. And I didn't take water out of the rock so that nobody would find water in rocks. Right? I'm just telling you the way it is. And that isn't where it is because that's artificial. Spirituality is artificial. It's fake. It's words. It's concepts. And concepts are not reality. Now, sure, there has to be probably some level of intellectual understanding that has to arrive at first before it can become visceral. Sure, I mean that's not necessarily, but that's perfectly reasonable. But that isn't going to happen through spirituality. That jump is going to be made. Never. I mean, never in the sense of unless you're willing to get one drop of water from a rock and devote life. Okay, fine. Maybe it's one drop less than never. Okay, fine. Just to be accurate for completeness' sake. But if something is not where it is, then to go that route is to fail before you even begin. So all of your effort is wasted. And why would you waste your effort? The reason that you would waste your effort is because you don't know that it isn't there. But then why would you know that it isn't there if everyone and their mother has always told you it's there? Like, you would never know that. In fact, they not only they've told you it's there, but it's being bombarded like gunfire at all times. That's all there is. So, like I was telling the other guy, I mean, unless you like want to put cotton in your ears and blindfold over your eyes, I mean, there's no way that you're going to avoid it, and there's no way that you're going to want to avoid it. But you want to go from intellectual to visceral in terms of finding out who you are. I mean, it's never going to be found through spirituality. So that, once again, it's one of those if you hear, if you remember nothing else type of things.